How are you? I feel like we haven't talked in a while.
Yeah, I know. We talked on Friday.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. Just
Lots happened. I'm tired.
yeah, as
Usual.
we can expect at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I woke up and I was so tired because one, I went to my friend Hannah's play last night. It was incredible. Wow. And then I went over to Hollis's house to have a Washington equivalent of a cocktail and um, what else do we do? Yeah. And then I came home and it was 11 a.m. or 11 p.m. I'm like, you know what would be a good thing to do right now is do laundry. So I did laundry at 11 p.m. and I went to bed at 1:30.
Nice.
Tragic. Yeah.
Yeah, I was supposed to go to band practice last night, and then it turned into not band practice, so I just went downtown. There's a car alarm outside, and it's
I
bothering
know I
me.
can hear it. Oh my god.
Why are you like this, city of Seattle? Stop it.
Someone turn it off. Yeah.
But yeah, it turned out to not be band practice. It turned out to be something else because they failed to inform me before I left my house with my instrument, so I had to lug it around.
Oh my god.
We were just gonna sit around and do this other thing, and I was like, well, then I'm not going. Forget it. It wasn't even like a fun get together. It was just I was like, never mind, goodbye.
Yeah.
I don't have my laptop, which is required for the activity that we were planning on doing, so
What?
I went downtown and picked up my shoes that I ordered last week. So
Oh, lovely.
I now have new sneakers, which
Yay.
I desperately needed them because my other ones I got 2 years ago, and I've basically been wearing them every single day.
For 2 years.
So they're pretty much worn to the bone,
Wow. R.I.P. shoes.
and I'm probably gonna still wear them because they're comfortable. They fit my feet.
Yeah. They are well worn in, for sure.
But these new ones, they're very, very comfortable. There's a lot of support going on in the foot area,
That's
and
good. That's good.
they're non-slip, like they're like water resistant, and like they have
Nice.
non-slip rubber on their soles or on the bottoms,
Ooh.
which I'm really excited about because the one thing about my shoes that are 2 years worn in, is that they have zero traction.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm really excited to be able to walk faster because I have
Yeah.
traction
In
now.
the rain. Potentially the
Yep.
snow.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, I got boots for that already. I'm good for the snow.
Nice. Yeah.
I got non-slip boots for that, but everything else, like the sidewalks for some reason have like this weird coating that's water resistant, but makes everything like makes it super slippery for me. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it probably has nothing to do with any of that. I'm just trying to make excuses for why I am incompetent on the sidewalk.
I mean, it's Seattle. It's hilly and rainy. And the
Indeed.
sidewalks are terrible anyways, so it,
God,
it makes sense.
I live in an area that's heavily populated by those stupid jump and lime bikes.
Oh,
And people just leave them in the
fuck.
middle of the
I
sidewalk. And I'm like, can you
know.
not?
I've had to literally just ram them out of the way with my wheelchair. It's
Yeah.
kind of satisfying, but also I'm annoyed by it.
I know. I'm like, I move them out of the way all the time because I'm like, people literally cannot walk through here. People literally cannot come through here with anything bigger than their body.
Yeah.
And that's like not okay.
I'm just in what world do you have so little self-awareness that you're just gonna plop the bike in the middle of the sidewalk?
I don't know. Because like I've been on the bus and I
God.
literally see people do it. And I'm like, car alarm, please stop.
Yeah. Oh my god.
But like also I'm just like I'm on the bus so I can't like get off the bus and be like, hello, can you not put it there please?
Yeah. Did I tell you that I was on my way home once and there was this guy, pretty sure a tourist, with a tripod taking up the entire sidewalk. and like other people could like walk around him. But I'm like, you're taking up the whole sidewalk. I need to get through. And he's like, can I just take one picture? And I'm like, no, move your tripod. I need to get through. And he's like, oh, okay. I'm like, dude, no, no, sorry.
It's illegal for him to take up the sidewalk like that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. There's also there's a dealership right by my house too, and they've had issues with parking cars literally in the sidewalk. And then like the other night I like finally went down and like was like, "Can you not do this anymore?" And like the owner was super nice about it. And he's like, "Oh yeah, I did not know that was happening." And I'm like, "Okay."
Yeah, right.
But I know, yeah, I'm like, okay. But anyways, okay. You were gonna ask me something, Cody. Remind me to talk about something. Do you remember?
No, but I can look it up.
Okay. It's supposed to be spontaneous. You're just supposed to ask me like we totally didn't plan this.
Okay. Uh, it says remind me to ask, or remind me, as in you,
Yeah.
or me to ask for yours and listener advice on my dating profiles.
Yeah.
Okay, my answer to this question is no.
No.
Because
Okay.
I'm not on dating profiles. I don't know how those work. So my answer is no. You have to rely on our minimal listener support.
Okay.
Minuscule listener base as of this point.
Cool. Do we know of any like specific listeners, or is it just maybe someone's out there?
You know, right now we're just screaming into the void.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. My friends have expressed interest. I don't know if they've actually followed up, even though I've like mentioned it 3 times. Maybe I just need to explicitly say like, "Hey, you're gonna listen to this. The next time I see you, I want you to have listened to this." Um, yeah, I guess like so I was like updating my Bumble profile the other day,
Hmm.
and I was like wondering like should I publicize my like podcast on my page? Like one, it would get
Go.
listeners. Two, that would be fun. But also, is that like any better or worse than people who just like don't even put a description in their dating profile? They just link to their Instagram.
This
Like,
link to their SoundCloud. Yeah.
yeah,
I'm sorry about this car alarm, guys. I don't have any control over it. My window's closed. My door is closed. Like literally everything in my control is happening to prevent the stupid car alarm noise from coming inside.
yeah. I like can't even hear it. So
Okay, well, it
yeah,
keeps periodically going off, and it's
okay,
annoying to me. So if you hear
yeah,
it, just know that I know that it's happening and I can't do
yeah.
anything about it.
I'm sorry. You think that someone would be out there by now to like check
Oh
on their
no.
car?
This shit happens all the time.
Oh, wild.
Usually in the middle of the night, but
Yeah. But yeah, anyways, I was just wondering, should I link the horror corner on my dating profile?
I mean, if it's gonna help people learn more about you, maybe, like, but put an actual description and then put it just at the end.
Yeah. Like the issue is that on Bumble there is a very limited space in the about me section. So I like
The
have this
link will get
part.
shortened.
What?
Won't the link get shortened?
Oh, I mean like a link and a description.
Oh.
Yeah.
How many
Because
characters do you have?
I have 21 characters left. And so far I'm talking about how I came to Seattle for college and now I'm a nightmare gay Jew in progress and socialist. Um and that my goal person is a big bad butch to hold all my important objects and bodyguard my service dog. So I'm like, I don't know where it can fit in, but you know, I'll figure it out.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah. I'm sorry I don't have any more sage advice. I don't
yeah,
I don't partake
that's
in
okay.
the online dating sphere.
Yeah, I think when I like texted you that, I had something like very specific in mind to like ask about. That would have been funny. That was like 2 weeks ago, and I haven't been back on Bumble, so I totally forgot.
Uh,
Anyways, but if you happen to be in Seattle and you see me on Bumble, just like me, just because. Yeah. Okay, cool. Should we get started? Do you want to take me in your time machine?
Sure. I'm not excited, but
Oh no, why?
we gotta do it, I guess. This one I'm very just not happy about.
Oh no. Should we provide any content warnings, updates?
Yeah, I mean, this is what I wanted to address. Thank you for reminding me.
Mm-hmm.
In light of YouTube's most recent bumblings, regarding Kappa.
Sorry.
Yes, no, I heard it in my head and I was like, it's coming out of my mouth. In light of their recent bumblings and regarding Kappa, and seeing as though right now our only venue of posting is YouTube, I think I'm going to be starting to do a content warning up front at the start of the episodes. I did them kind of at the beginning of the podcast, but I haven't done them since.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I'm going to pre-record something and stick it at the front of every episode now.
Okay. Yeah.
Just to kind of cover our tracks, our bases, because I can go into a little bit more detail about it, but basically if you don't mark your videos for children, you can get fined. If you mark them for children, then it turns out they are not for children, you can get fined. But if you mark them as not for children, but then the people at the FTC, which is the law, the government, come and watch your video and deem it okay for children and market it towards children, they can fine you even more than both of those other things. And people have already been fined about $42,000.
Wait, so they can fine you for being overprotective of children?
Yes.
Okay, wow. I have not heard of this, so we should talk about it more in detail afterwards.
Deep in the YouTube community at this point. Okay. Whether or not my channel is taken off is yet to be seen, but I hope that YouTube survives long enough for my channel to take off, because I would be very grateful for that.
Yeah, for sure.
What has in the past been a platform for people to post whatever, whenever, and share their thoughts and ideas and just kind of broadcast themselves, which was YouTube's motto for a really long time, like broadcast yourself, has just turned into this whole shitstorm of copyright claims and pedophiles and YouTube thinking that they're protecting children, but they're not, and ignoring the issue completely. Now, I understand copyright issues. That is a perfectly legitimate thing. And so is this protecting children thing, but they're taking it way out of context. Not out of context, but out of proportion. And just the people who will be reviewing videos do not understand popular culture. And I can link a video in the description of this video that I watched that I think really put this into more succinct words than I will ever attempt to say. But essentially, they're trying to... The people that we will be reviewing these videos do not understand popular culture. They will not understand that adults make cartoons for adults, that a lot of cartoon and gaming content is not for children, but a lot of the buzzwords in the actual written law involves anything that's targeted towards children, including fun, gaming, colorful things, cartoons, exciting, free,
oh my
right?
God. Yeah.
All those things. If they're marked, if they're written or clearly somewhere on your video card and your thumbnails are colorful, if it seems to be in any way marketed towards children, they can come for you. And it's the people reviewing these videos do not understand that is what grabs both children and adults.
Yeah.
They're trying to think of the kids.
Yeah.
But they're not doing it in such a way that helps anybody.
It doesn't seem like they're doing anything to actually chase down the actual pedophiles.
Right. So now YouTube, to cover their own ass, has given people the option to mark their videos, yes, they're for children, or no, they're not for children. They've also started pushing YouTube Kids a lot more, which doesn't allow comments. And the part of this is because a lot of bigger corporations that put ads on these monetized videos are like, I don't want to be associated with pedophiles. I don't want to be associated with people who are not like advertiser friendly, right? So the way YouTube has tried to make both parties happy, or not really both parties, just the advertisers really, so that they can keep paying YouTube, right, is trying to rein in the creators on YouTube and be like, hey, we still want money. And, we understand that you do too, but at the same time, we want money.
Yeah.
So everything has to be advertiser friendly now. And so if you mark your videos as directed towards kids, I'm assuming that they assume that they're worried about pedophiles coming onto these videos that are marked for children. And they want to avoid pedophiles.
Yeah.
So they're going to hide your videos from people's subscription boxes, which is the point of the subscription box, like, in the first place. They will hide it from your notifications, which is the point of the notifications in the first place. You cannot search for the video. Essentially, if you mark your video as for children, it is impossible to find.
RIP. Yeah.
Yes. So I don't want to go into this anymore because I'm incredibly frustrated, and the point of this is that I'm going to start putting a pre-recorded warning at the beginning of all of our episodes. Just to kind of, the example that I heard was like, if you market it as, bright, colorful, fun, gaming, but then you swear later on in the video, the people watching these videos don't know that you're going to swear later on in the video if you market it as cool, fun, exciting, free, gaming, right?
Yeah.
Which a kid will very well click on, right? And then if you swear later on in the video, oh, that's not for kids anymore, and so you can get fined.
Yeah.
And then if you mark it as not for kids and a kid still clicks on it or whatever, and then the people viewing the video see that kids have clicked on this video and they go see it and they're like, oh, wow, they swore on this video and they marked it not for kids. But everything was clearly pointing in the direction that a kid would click on it, and kids have been clicking on it. Oh, we're going to find them for not following our rules. So it's a weird... Yeah,
it sounds like a lot.
I don't know all the details of this. I really recommend you watch or like find other information on this because I don't even know the full scale of it. But it's just basically everyone's worried that YouTube in general, online content will become more and more mature and less geared toward children because people don't want to get in trouble. And then, even if there are kid-only or quote-unquote kid-only platforms like YouTube Kids, the internet still exists. Yeah. The FTC cannot prevent children from clicking on other links that are not meant for them outside of YouTube. Like, if they just Google search how to do this, and then it leads them to YouTube, like regular YouTube, and it's like a very disturbing, not meant for children video, because someone, said how to do this, but it was like really like satire or, comedy skit that's like disturbing, right? Yeah. The internet still links back to YouTube. Those videos all still exist. It's just this whole thing about like people trying to avoid the fine will just start making their content more and more mature. Yeah. Right. So. Yeah. But then again, it leads back to children still click on things regardless of whether or not it's meant for them. Yeah. And the internet still exists. Yeah. The surrounding internet, I should say. Yeah. Well, so
I guess we should figure out how to get on iTunes or how to afford to get on iTunes.
Yeah.
Well, all right. I guess what we can do now is...
I also want to say that I'm not in any way an official source on this. I'm not a lawyer. I cannot give you any sort of advice on this. That's what I know of it so far.
Yeah. Okay. Well, should we jump in the time machine? Take us away from all this?
Sure.
I'm sure not to a better place because murder, but
Yeah, it starts out okay.
okay. I
Yeah,
mean, don't they? Yeah, okay.
we're going to jump in our time machine and head back to the 1960s.
Woohoo, groovy,
A time
man.
of peace and love and anti-war, you know, uh, what do you call it?
Pacifist. Hippies.
Hippies, yes,
Socialists.
hippies. Um, Socialists. What do you call it? What do you call it? When people like to save the earth.
Tree huggers.
Sure, we'll go with that.
Environmentalism.
Environmentalism, thank you.
Yay, we got it.
Yeah, so in the 1960s, there was a man named Ira Einhorn.
Okay.
He was born into a middle-class Jewish family.
Jewish family?
Jewish family.
Hell yes, okay.
And he became a very active person in Earth rights and anti-establishment rights or groups and anti-war movements in the 60s and 70s. He was not born in the 60s or 70s. He was born on May 15th, 1940.
Mm-hmm.
So in the 1960s and 70s, he attended the University of Pennsylvania, where he participated in the first Earth Day event in Philadelphia in 1970, which really promoted Earth rights and peace and love and, community.
Yeah. All that fun stuff.
Yeah, so part of how he was able to pull this off, because he kind of orchestrated this event as well.
Mm-hmm.
He had a lot of connections. Really?
Garbage
truck outside?
Garbage truck.
It's noon. Nobody asked for this.
It's actually noon 30.
Down.
Be good? Is it over?
I hope so. We'll just give it another minute.
You sounded so worn down and like that, exhausted, emotionless cop. I hope it all turns out okay.
I've had a very, it's been a weekend.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So how he was able to pull off Earth Day, he knew a lot of people in the local police department.
Cool.
And he knew the mayor, who was up for re-election, running against this other guy who really just didn't like him. Didn't like Ira. In fact, a lot of people everyone basically either really loved Ira or absolutely despised him.
That kind of sounds like Dr. Hillard, honestly.
Sorry, what?
That kind of sounds like Dr. Hillard.
Oh, well, I have my own issues with her. But, everyone, there was really not any in between. They were either in love with him or they absolutely despised him, and that's just how it was.
Mm-hmm.
He was especially popular with the ladies.
Mm-hmm.
He often had several lovers.
Nice. Free love. That's
yes, 60s. Free love was his thing. He's in an open relationship with a lot of people.
Wow.
And this is not the top of my notes. Where are they? Here we go. Yeah, he was disrespectful towards women.
Oh,
this is where it kind of takes a turn.
Great. I know. I feel like I've heard about this story, the Earth Day environmentalism and Jewish guy is ringing a bell.
Yeah, so even though everyone loved him and he was very popular with the ladies, he was actually very disrespectful towards women and took on many lovers before and after meeting the main girlfriend of our story.
Mm-hmm.
And let me return back to my multimedia notes, because for some reason I can never stick to one format of notes, and it's very frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
Holly Maddox, the main character of our story here,
Mm-hmm.
Um, started attended the University of Pennsylvania um, at some point, and then left because she didn't feel comfortable there. I don't think she was having she's having a hard time with her classes, so she went back to Tyler, Texas, where she was originally from, and went to college there for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Before returning back to University of Pennsylvania when she was 21.
Got it. Okay.
So this was, I think, a year or so before she met Einhorn. The dates, I watched a couple of, there's still trash happening outside. If it's not car alarm, it's fucking trash.
This is what happens when we go off of our Wednesday routine.
Yes.
Chaos.
Okay, let me recollect myself.
Okay, yeah.
University
You're
of
good.
Pennsylvania.
You're fine.
Okay.
It's
okay. My fingers are losing circulation. That's great.
Oh no.
So, yeah. So my sources are a couple of different articles. One of them is from Ranker. One of them is from crimeinvestigation.co.uk. They all kind of had similar information, but I somehow found this documentary. It wasn't even a documentary. It was a made-for-TV movie that was in 2 parts from 1999. And it had just been posted on YouTube.
Oh
I'm not even going to pretend that I found it somewhere else. I found it on YouTube.
Wow. Wait,
both
I'm
parts
sorry. So is this a documentary? I think I might have. No?
It is a movie based on the events.
Oh, okay. So
I don't know how much of it is accurate. I don't know how much of it is not. But
got it. Okay.
From everything that I read, everything kind of seemed to check out, and it gave a lot more details than anything else that I read.
Mm-hmm.
But along the timeline and stuff, it seems fairly accurate.
Okay.
Obviously, there's stuff that people say that like you can't, that I couldn't like confirm or anything. So, there's gonna be a line later that I want to quote, but I don't know for sure if he actually said it or not.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Okay. So Holly Maddox, our main character here, she and Ira dated for 5 years.
Okay.
On and off. A lot of times it was when they were off, he didn't think they were. It was just kind of like, we need to take a break. I'm leaving. And then she'll be like, oh, we broke up.
Healthy.
But then it's like, he's always calling her. He's always looking for her. Like, saying, oh, women don't dump me. I dump women. Like,
oh my God.
Yeah.
What?
So he was super...
Ew. What a classic heterosexual dysfunctional relationship. Grody.
Yeah, so he was super obsessive, super controlling. He read her journal. He made her get an abortion.
Ew.
He made her brush his hair and bring him things.
That creeps
classic.
Me out.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you find a picture of him, he's got quite the scruff.
Can I look him up right now?
Just
overall,
he didn't have great hygiene.
What?
Overall, he didn't have great hygiene.
Okay, so kind of like a dirty Seattle hipster?
Just a dirty hippie, yeah.
Okay. Can you say his name again? Ira
Einhorn.
Ira Einhorn? Okay. Oh, I found it. Oh, he is so scruffy.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And basically, he adapted this look in the 60s and never gave it up. This is what he looked like.
I can't tell if it's hippie or Hasidic Judaism, but it also doesn't. I don't know.
Well, it's the thing. When I was watching the movie, they're one of the lines was "Oh, please, you haven't been to a synagogue in how many years? Since you were a kid.
Yeah.
Don't sprout some bullshit about being Jewish and you feel oppressed, because we'll get into it. There were some lies that were spread about Holly's father and just incorrect assumptions that the family wanted to clear, but I don't think ever was. He just Ira Einhorn spouted some information into the world that should have never been said.
I know. I'm guessing that if he was gross and did gross things and got away with it, then he probably wasn't very involved in the Jewish community. At least
Yeah.
not in a productive way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah. I'm going with
Yeah, so one
scruffy
time,
hippie.
sorry,
Sorry.
what?
I said I am going with scruffy hippie.
Okay. Yeah. So one time he actually told Holly, they were at a party,
Hmm.
and he told Holly to find a ride home with somebody else because he was going home with another woman to have sex with her.
Fuck him. What the hell is his
Yes.
deal? I mean, he's a
I
serial
don't
killer,
know.
right? I'm guessing he ends up, yeah.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Okay. Okay. All right.
So yeah, so he just wasn't great. And, said they were in an open relationship, but Holly wasn't really about it. He
Hmm.
made her take a job as a stripper for money,
Wait,
and then ridiculed her for it.
he made her?
Yeah, they were
Oh
like really in desperate need of money
God.
because like I don't think either of them really had a job. Holly was really just invested in her. She wanted to make fabric things, also called clothing. She wanted to start her own like clothing company.
Yeah.
But like she didn't have the funds for it. She kept, she was in the process of putting it all together, but she didn't have any like financial support for it. She didn't have a job. He didn't have a
Uh-huh.
job. Um, in the movie, he like was threatened to have his phone bill cut off or his phone lines cut off because he couldn't pay the bills.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, so they were really just not doing well financially. So he made her take a job as a stripper.
Gross. Men are so unhelpful.
Yeah, and then he would like
God.
visit her at the club and just like
Ew.
watch her.
Ew.
But then he also ridiculed her for it,
Fuck.
which brings in
Sounds
the
like
line from the
classic
movie.
gaslighting.
Yes. I want to bring in the line from the movie now
Okay.
because they were at a retreat slash like conference thing,
Hmm.
and it was the thing about his teaching style and his whole philosophy was that he thought the government was hiding secret documents that he claimed to have read about psychic phenomenon.
Hmm.
And he said
Okay.
time and time again that he was on a different plane mentally from everybody else, and that if you channel your power or your mental power enough, that you could, bend a spoon.
Sounds a little bit too close to like all the paranormal shows that I watch that I desperately want to believe in. Low
Yeah,
key.
so that's the thing. He actually legitimately believed in this,
Yeah. Oh boy.
and
Oh boy.
he brought her to this retreat, even though she didn't want to go. And so she was like
Classic.
there, and she's like, okay, well, I guess I might as well try to participate.
Yeah.
And he kept cutting her off, saying that, like, you don't need to concern yourself with this. Don't worry about it. Like, you don't know what you're saying. She was like, oh, like I see. This is a scene from the movie, so I don't know how accurate it is, but I want to think something along these lines happened where she was like
Okay.
describing something to the group, and he was like, no, 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 no. Um, just ignore her. Holly's not sophisticated enough to distinguish between the true psychic phenomenon and her own imagination.
Ew. He's just pulling so many like classic man moves.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I'm sorry if I'm getting like too irate about like black and white saying like men are gross, but also I feel like this man is helping with that belief. Anyways.
Yeah. He's really not putting up a great evidence for anything else.
No, yeah.
Holly ended up walking out after this comment, and the man who went to comfort her was this man named Saul.
Okay.
I don't remember his last name, but I think he was also like an academic or whatever who was like, I guess I'll go see what this conference retreat is all about. Um, and so he went to go comfort her, and they ended up being, hitting it off, sort of. But
Mm-hmm.
obviously, Holly was like, well, I have to stay with Ira because I just have to stay with Ira.
Mm-hmm.
Probably gave some bullshit reason that I don't understand. And
Yeah.
so they went back. And it just became more and more toxic. He was very hot. Ira was very hot and cold, angry and throwing things one moment and then like I love you and kisses the next.
Yeah.
And talked often about the CIA using people as experiments for psychic phenomenon.
Okay. Huh.
When he was offered a job to study psychic phenomenon in Canada, he told Holly that she wasn't allowed to come with him.
Okay.
And of
So,
course, Holly's like, why not? I'm going to come with you.
yeah. Wait, so what is their relationship status at this point? Are they still just dating? Are they
They've been
engaged?
together this entire time.
What?
They've been together this entire time.
I mean, but like are they engaged to get married or just like
No.
okay, got it.
No, they're just dating.
Okay.
I don't even know if Ira believed in marriage, honestly. Like,
Yeah.
I don't even know.
Okay.
Um, this is where I stopped taking notes and just continued to watch the movie because it's in two parts, and both parts are an hour and a half.
Got it.
But from what I can recall of the movie and checks out with some other things that I read, Holly ended up leaving Ira at some point because she often left and just like
Mhm.
without telling anybody where she was going to get away from Ira.
Yeah.
So when she left, Ira really didn't think any different of it. He was like, "Oh, she'll come back. Like I'll just keep calling her and she'll come back."
Yeah.
But Holly was actually on a boat with Saul, thinking that
Oh.
her and Ira had broken up.
Yeah. Okay. I'm guessing that doesn't turn out well.
No, so she's out on this boat with Saul for a really long time, and Ira just becomes more and more obsessive, right? And starts calling her friends, her family, and just like going to her place of work, going to wherever, and just trying to find her, right? And he
Mhm.
gets really angry, and one night he ends up calling Saul's boat,
Okay.
even though neither Holly nor Saul gave him her phone number, gave him the phone number.
Okay.
So he had gotten this number from somebody, they don't know who, and he was like, Holly, you need to come home.
So how does Ira know Saul? Did I like miss this or
Um, I don't really know. I think they both taught in like the University of Pennsylvania circle,
okay, I got you.
and that's how Holly met Saul.
Yeah.
Um, but they weren't like super close or anything. They weren't friends.
Okay.
It was just like Holly met Saul and she started dating him.
Okay.
And at this time, or like a little bit before, she started seeing a therapist. I think she went to group
Oh,
therapy.
good. Yeah.
Yeah,
Smart girl.
and
Good, good, good.
the facilitator was like, as soon as she said she was going off with Saul, and as soon as she came back and like, was talking about him in the group, I could see the immediate difference.
Hmm.
Like she was just so broken down and so like she kept putting herself down and just wasn't confident at all. And like,
Yeah.
she's a super intelligent woman. Like she knows what she's doing, but for some
Yeah.
reason, just being with Ira really just caught her down from whatever
I mean,
some of the stuff that she had.
yeah. I mean, being
So
an
when she
internet.
started dating Saul, there was like a complete difference, and the facilitator was like, "Yeah, I mean, she was bright, she was happy, like her
Yeah.
self confidence was back,
Yeah.
and yeah, so Saul was good for her."
Yeah. Good relationships are really good. We love them.
Yeah. When I recalled the boat, it was like raining, it was storming outside, so Holly was like, "You know what? Fuck it, fine, I'll come home, I'll get all my things, but we're broken up.
Hmm.
I'm leaving. I'm gonna go
Yeah.
stay with somebody else, probably Saul." And Ira was like, "Just come home."
Ugh.
So she comes back to the apartment. She tries to get her stuff, but Ira doesn't let her leave.
Yeah.
I want to think that he tried to convince her to get back together. That just seems like something that he would do.
Hmm.
As much as I don't want to influence the story, but this is, I feel like he would have convinced her because the next bit of information is what he told the police.
Hmm.
He told the police that Holly returned to the apartment on September 9th, 1977, and Holly was last seen on September 9th, 1977, entering Einhorn's apartment.
Oh, great. Awesome.
So nobody really knows what happened after that, but he
Mm.
claimed that Holly had gone out to the neighborhood co-op to buy some tofu and sprouts, but she never returned.
Yikes. Okay.
And he didn't see her leave because he was in the bath.
What? He would just. Okay. Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting story, but okay.
Yes. So the aftermath of this, after September 9th, 1977, he has very mixed emotions about this whole situation. On one hand, he goes to his mother and like cries and is like completely upset that Holly is not returning his calls. Nobody knows where she is. Like he goes to all of her friends and family again. Like, you know, it's like, hey, where's Holly? I miss her. I love her. I can't be without her.
Hmm.
You know, it's just super obsessive about it.
Yeah. I feel like as soon as you say, I can't live without someone, that's not great.
But yeah, on the other hand, he was going to his friends and being like, oh, she'll come back. He's fine. She's fine. Like, Holly just disappears sometimes. It's not a
Oh.
problem. No worries.
So he's like adjusting what he says to his different audiences to try to
Yes.
convince. Okay, great.
Yes. Okay, so now we're going to fast forward. Yeah, his mom said that he came to her a few days after Holly left, very distraught and a mess. And then every time he went home, his friends said that he didn't seem distraught at all.
Creepy. Ugh.
Yeah. Yeah, so this entire time, like, he keeps calling the police, but then also, like, refusing to let them into his apartment.
Yeah.
Like, search it or anything. Or, like, search his phone records to... Because he also said... Sorry, I'm jumbled here. Iris told the police that Holly had called a couple days after she left, saying that she was okay and that she was going to be gone for a while. And this was when he went to his mom and like started crying, was really distraught. But the entire time his friends said that he didn't seem distraught at all. So if Holly really had called him, you know, what's the deal? Did he just get over it super quickly, which doesn't seem right? Doesn't seem like it'd be something that he would do.
No.
But yeah, like he wouldn't let the police look at his phone records because everything was on paper.
Yeah.
Right, that they sent to them directly.
Yeah.
So, you know, everybody's like, okay, well, let us search. And he just kept saying, she left while I was in the bath, and I haven't heard from her since.
It seems like he's like trying to put up a front that he's being cooperative to like make himself look better, but when push comes to shove, he's like, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So sorry if it seems like I'm repeating a lot of this, but I just want to say that I want to drill into your brain that he's just, a lot of his friends are like, oh, he wouldn't hurt a fly. Like he wouldn't ever hurt Holly. Like he wouldn't hurt anyone.
Yeah.
He's a really great guy. Pillar of the community.
God. Yeah. Shout out to ATWWD, yay, pillar of the community.
I know. So the whole thing about this is that while the police kind of come around every so often, like, question him again, they don't have a warrant or anything to search his apartment. They don't have any, like, reason to bring him down to the station. Everyone that they question says that, like, he's a great guy. So they don't have any reason to arrest him or force their way into his apartment to find evidence.
Yeah.
Of, you know, where Holly went. Because this entire time, Holly's father, Fred, is also pushing for, you know, where the fuck is my daughter? This man who I've previously met and had, like, very hostile conversations with over the phone. And when he came here and saw my Nazi flag hanging on the wall.
Oh. Great.
Said I was disrespecting him.
So, did the dad actually have a Nazi flag on the wall, or was Yes? Oh, God.
Yes. So, he had World War II memorabilia. Because he fought in the war, and he's like, you know, I went in there and I fought for a little bit to end World War II. You know, we took down the Nazis, and this is like my commemorative piece. A giant Nazi flag hanging on my wall.
No. I don't
Yeah,
like
so
that.
Ira really wasn't about that. He's like, as a Jewish person, I don't approve.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I would not approve of that either.
Yeah. And as the case went on, Ira started spouting nonsense about how like Holly's father was actually a Nazi, all this other stuff, and like Holly's sisters was like, no.
Yeah,
I mean, he's got a Nazi flag. He fought in World War II, but he's not. He's like a Catholic white man with blue eyes, but it has nothing. He's not a Nazi.
yeah. I mean, I
He's
can
not a
easily
Nazi.
see how someone hanging a Nazi flag in their home would be interpreted as that.
Oh, for sure.
And at the same time, it's like
In the
he's
context of Ira Einhorn, it seems to be his embellished portrayal of Holly's father.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Also, like
So
people who've been through the trauma of war probably behave differently than a lot of like non-veterans would socially expect. So I guess there is that as well.
yeah, maybe I don't really know. I
Yeah.
don't have any experience with that. Um, but yeah, so Fred was like super distraught about his son. Who am I talking about? Fred was worried that his daughter was in danger,
Hmm.
right? Because this man who had called incessantly and like came searching for her suddenly stopped, right? And said it was
Yeah.
okay that she was gone and that she'd come back.
Yeah.
So Fred hired a private investigator in Texas
Nice.
to
Good.
search for whatever he could about this whole thing.
Hmm.
But they couldn't convince the police to look any more into it because they're just like, we can't do anything about it. Like, there's no evidence. There's no solid evidence. We only have theories. Like, we need something solid
Hmm.
to like even bring him in.
Yeah.
And finally, they were able to convince an ex-girlfriend of Ira's to come forward and give a statement to the police about the end of her relationship with Ira.
Hmm.
Um, and so she gave this whole statement about how he physically abused her. Like he was very nice
Hmm.
at first, but then he flipped like a switch and started
Yeah.
to choke her until she passed out.
Eek. Yeah. Okay.
And so this statement to the police was the missing link in the stack of evidence that finally convinced the Philadelphia police to start an official investigation.
Okay. Good.
They came to his apartment on March 28th, 1979, with a search warrant and began to look around, taking pictures of everything to record it. There was a closet/room bolted shut, and the police made sure to get a picture of the lock before breaking it, just to prove that like he was trying to hide something, maybe.
Hmm.
And inside they found boxes and boxes of Holly's things, probably the things that she was coming to get the night she disappeared.
Hmm.
And they also found a large trunk.
Oh no.
Now in this large trunk contained a lot of crumpled up newspapers, seeming to be emanating a large, horrible, a horrible smell.
Oh no. Dead body.
And at the bottom of the box was Holly's body.
Dead body. Gross. No, I hate that. Okay.
They found her body in his apartment more than a year after she went missing,
Oh my
determined that she had
god.
been decomposing for about 18 months, and whether or not she was in that box in Ira's apartment for that entire length of time. The police were unsure at the time, and wounds inflicted included fractures to her skull, and the movie that I watched talked about it a little bit more than the other articles that I read.
Hmm.
But it said that her jaw had been smashed
Oh my god. That's
into her,
awful.
like either upward into her skull or downward into her neck.
Ugh. I don't like that. I hate that. Fuck.
But yeah, just overall, there's just her. She'd been brutally beaten,
Yeah. Damn.
and
Okay.
then possibly suffocated in that box.
Hmm. Okay. All right.
Um, Ira Einhorn was arrested on that day, March 28th, 1979, but was
Good.
released prior to his trial because he sent out letters to several people rallying for financial support to cover lawyer and other fees.
God. Okay. All right. Yeah.
He paid 10% of his bail, which is the required amount. You don't
Uh-huh.
have to pay the entire thing. Um, the upfront, right? The bail is set for a certain amount, and then you only have to pay a certain amount to get out, and then you can continue paying it back later.
Yeah.
So his bail was reduced to $40,000.
40,000?
By his lawyer.
Yeah. Oh God. The bail system
and,
is so weird. Yeah.
Yeah, and he only had to pay 10% of it up front.
God.
So he only had to pay 4,000 of it.
Okay.
Which a socialite paid because he sent out these letters and convinced everybody that he was a good man and all that jazz. So she paid for it.
Okay.
So he was a free man before his trial, and then his trial happened, but he wasn't there.
Okay, so
because guess what?
Did not show up.
No. Well, yes, but in 1981, just days before his trial,
yeah,
Ira Einhorn fled to Europe.
Oh, that's not suspicious.
Oh no, not at all.
Okay.
He lived there for about 17 years and married a Swedish woman named Annika Floden.
Oh God. Okay. So
she was another one of those like, oh, you're so wonderful, never could hurt a fly, and like didn't know anything about that was what was happening in the U.S. at the time.
Yeah.
And the movie that I watched had them staying at various places around Europe, fleeing from the police and everything because I think he stayed with a professor who was teaching abroad at the time and staying at their house. And then it turned out that they were going back to Philadelphia for a conference or something. Or like that was the guise of their trip. And he was like, oh, well, you know, they're probably going to hear some shit about me. I got to tell them the truth.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh, very interesting. Please take care of our dog. Goodbye.
So they just let him stay there still?
Yes.
Oh my God.
The real reason for heading back to Philadelphia was to give a statement to the police.
Oh, okay. All right. That's good. It's good.
Plus, I think they were there anyways, so they're like, well, we might as well.
Yeah.
So this gave the police an idea of where he was. They still couldn't go after him because he's in Europe.
Yeah.
And they didn't have anything super solid on the fact, or like on murder charges at the time.
Yeah.
Because he kept denying that he killed her, and the only evidence they have was the body in his apartment. Like, there was no blood. Yeah. All of his neighbors were like, there's a, like, super bad smell coming from his apartment, but he also doesn't have great hygiene, so, like, it could have just been trash that he left there that he refused to take out.
Ugh.
Like, we don't have any solid evidence. Like, we don't have enough solid evidence to tell the European police, the various European police departments, to go after this man.
Yeah.
And so he just kept going from country to country in Europe. He changed his name to John, something that starts with a W. And eventually they found them because his wife had to renew her driver's license.
Oh. Okay. So,
at the time, they were staying in France.
Okay. So then...
And before we go into that... What?
Oh, so how come they were suddenly able to arrest him just because his wife needed to renew her driver's license?
Hang on.
Okay.
So before that, I want to return back to the trial that he missed.
Yeah.
Because they had the trial anyways.
Oh my God, okay.
And it was weird because it's not very often / it's never been done before where they have a trial when the defendant's not there.
Yeah.
Like, that's the whole point of the U.S. justice system. Like, you have the right to a fair trial. And I would say, if you're not there to defend yourself, that's not a fair trial.
Yeah. Yeah.
But either way, the trial continued. The trial happened, and he was convicted of murder in 1996.
Yikes. But, like, also, so if he's, like, fleeing willfully, then do you think that he has forfeited his right to have to be there for a fair trial?
Yeah, so I think that was part of the reason why they went ahead with the trial anyways.
Yeah.
So the state convicted him as in absentia, which
Oh,
I think is just sure, whatever.
yeah.
For her murder in 1996. I think they convicted him of life in prison without the possibility of parole before that.
Okay.
Like, I don't know where in that time frame that they actually had the trial, because he was only convicted of being in an absentia in 1996. I don't know if that was when also he was sentenced for life in prison without parole.
Okay. Got it.
But in 1997, the French police came to his house and arrested him when they were able to finally pin him down and be like, okay, now he's actually wanted in the United States to live out his sentence in prison.
Yeah.
We need to find him.
Cool.
So internationally, it's cool to go after him now.
Great.
Yeah, so he was arrested in Champagne-Monton, France, which is not how you pronounce that because I cannot speak French.
LOL.
Living under the name Eugene Malone.
Okay.
Which is not how you pronounce it either.
Yeah.
It's Mallon. Sorry. And the E in Eugene, it's E-U-G, E with an accent thing, backwards accent thing, and E. So it's all fancy in French, and I can't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now that they have him, they're trying to get him sent back to the United States.
And
unfortunately, France and the U.S. have an extradition treaty in which either country can refuse to have them extradited.
Oh, God. Okay.
Based on certain circumstances, which Ira really tried to get going. So he used multiple reasons and multiple avenues to figure out how to not get extradited back to the United States, where he was literally like sentenced to prison, right? He did not want that.
Yeah.
Kept going on and on and on about his, like, I'm a good person, like, the CIA is trying to get me, you know, this is all a conspiracy to discredit my ideas and, like, you know, ruin me as a professor and academic of psychic phenomenon and free thought and all that jazz.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But at this point, you know, I feel like he's pretty much discredited and
yeah, I mean, he ruined himself when he murdered the woman, so...
But that's the thing, like, everyone loves him still.
God.
It's still a matter of, like, people either love him or hate him. So, he had, like, a mock trial where he gave this whole speech thing, and then the room voted on, you know, whether to convict him as guilty or not, and they voted him not guilty.
Oh my... Okay.
It wasn't a real trial, obviously, but it was just kind of like to prove that if you get the right people in the jury, they will vote him not guilty.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, you know, the trial is completely different. The lawyers are going to obviously get the people that they want to get in, like, the best way that they can. Like, obviously, Ira's lawyer would prefer to get the panel of jury people that he got in that room that day, but the prosecution is going to try to get other jury members as well, so to kind of sway that. So, yeah. At the time the movie was released in 1999, Ira Einhorn had been scheduled to be sent back from France to the United States for another trial, and was not in custody. Because while he was in France, after the time he was captured, they held a trial to review whether or not they should extradite him to the United States.
Got it.
Law stuff and dates always get me really confused, and I feel like on some level I know how to read law jargon, and I can understand it and figure it out. Yeah. But, like, it just takes me a while.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I guess that's why people have to go to law school to learn it all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rip.
I don't know what's going on. Anyways, either way, France deemed him not, like, they can't send him, or, like, they can send him back.
Okay.
For another trial, because technically he didn't commit a crime in France. So, when he goes back to the U.S., he has to be on trial again. So he's basically a free man as of the end of the movie in 1999.
Grody, okay.
However, he's finally extradited on July 20th, 2001.
Okay.
Back to Philadelphia.
Whoa,
Where
that's
he
like
was tried.
super recent.
Yeah, so that's the thing.
Wild. Okay.
Holly was murdered in 1977.
Jesus, and they took this long?
And the entire time, her family is really trying to push to get this guy to get arrested. You know, they're really just kind of the main leaders on this case. Like, the police are like, we literally cannot do anything. We don't have any evidence. You know, when you find evidence, we can bring him in, but we don't have any evidence.
Yeah.
So they keep ignoring their calls. They're like, you know, this is why Fred had to hire a PI.
Yeah.
Because otherwise nothing was getting done.
That makes sense.
So between the time of Holly's murder, alleged murder, and Ira being sent back to the United States, Holly's mother had already died.
Oh. Oh no.
And a year later, her father died.
Oh no.
Of complications due to a leg amputation that was due to some disease.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
So in that time, both of her parents already died. And one of her sisters has a baby. So it's 2001.
Yeah.
Finally back in the United States. More investigations preparing for the trial. Einhorn claims that CIA agents murdered Holly.
Okay.
Because of Ira's own investigations into psychic phenomenon relating to the Cold War.
Oh my gosh. This sounds like Mulder from the X-Files gone terribly wrong.
Oh, absolutely. So on October 17th, 2002, the jury convicted Einhorn to mandatory life in prison without the possibility of parole.
Nice. Okay.
They deliberated for 2 hours.
Got it.
After a month-long trial.
Wait, after a month-long trial, it only took them 2 hours.
Yes.
Nice. Good.
Yes.
Don't have to waste anyone else's time.
Yep. Let's see here.
Is he dead yet?
No.
Fuck. Okay.
He's just in prison. And in Pennsylvania, and he was transferred in 2016 to a different prison. That, quote, provides care for inmates with health needs.
Okay.
According to Inmate Locator.
Okay. Huh. Do we know what his health needs are? Is it like mental health?
I don't know.
Or...
I want to look at this a little bit more because I did not click on the source before. This is on Wikipedia.
Okay.
Sorry, that story was supposed to be short and it dragged on for way too long because I'm confused about things.
I mean, it is a very long story with a lot of moving parts. I think he did great.
I was just like, oh, this is not that long of a Wikipedia article. It's going to be an easy story. Like, as easy as a story can be. And then I found like other, like the Ranker had like top 14 things, like gross things about the sky. Okay, easy source. crimeandinvestigation.uk.uk, like easy. I found this documentary. Okay, it's not a documentary. Oh, okay, it's a 2-part TV movie. Okay. So that was a little bit more than I thought it was going to be. But this guy has been dubbed since as the Unicorn Killer.
Great. Why the Unicorn Killer?
Because his first name is Ira. His last name, the first part of it is Ein, which is one in German. And the second part of it is Horn, so one horn.
Okay. That's, interesting. Okay. It seems
so
like...
he's dubbed the Unicorn Killer.
Yeah. It sounds like
and that is the story
a very fanciful name for a very bad person.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well...
I'm probably going to have to cut out some of that because I realize what time it is and I'm like, I need to wrap this up. It's a very long runaround story and I'm sorry.
Oh yeah,
it's supposed to be shorter.
We're good. Yeah. I mean, I'm good. You're the one that's going to have to edit it. So I don't know if you're going to be good, but...
So you better tell your story in the next 10 minutes, and then I don't have that much to edit.
Yeah, I think it might take a little bit longer than 10 minutes, but I'll try.
All right, you let me know.
Okay, I will.
Spook me.
Okay. So, Cody, do you want to
Yes.
know why I'm in a wheelchair?
Sure.
Okay. So, here is the totally true story of why I'm disabled. I promise that it's relevant. Okay. So, I was like maybe 3 years old when my birth mother wrapped me up in my blankets and took me into the forest in the dead of night. We eventually came to a very nice house in a clearing, and everyone inside was asleep. My birth mother jumped up through an open window with me in her arms, and we tiptoed down the dark hallway until we got to a nursery. And in the nursery, there were two cradles with two sleeping twins. My birth mother picked one and put me inside and took the other baby and left. And I've never seen her since. I woke up. I know. I woke up the next morning with a human twin sister, a set of human heterosexuals as new parents, and I've never seen my other family again. Why am I in a wheelchair? Able-bodied people ask. It's because I'm a changeling. Medieval Europe's scapegoat for disability and neurodivergence, and possibly an early eugenics scheme. Yay!
Wow.
That's why I'm disabled.
Great.
Yeah, isn't that so fun? Okay, anyways, that was terrible. But, yeah, so we're gonna be talking about changelings today. It's gonna be great. Have you heard of changelings before?
I've heard of The Changeling.
Is that a movie?
Yeah, it's the movie about the woman who lost her son, and then plot twist / spoiler / they tell it in the trailer. When she got her son back, quote unquote, it wasn't her son.
Oh, yeah.
It's based on a real case.
Okay, yeah. That checks
I don't
out.
think that's what a changeling is.
Yeah.
But I assume it's someone who can change their appearance.
Well, wiki woo. Why did I write that like that? Wiki woo. Wikipedia defines a changeling as something believed to be a fairy child that had been left in place of a human child stolen by fairies. So it's like they don't really change their appearances. It's like a baby swap by fairies.
I see.
Yeah. Yeah, so the mythology of changelings. Ow, cut myself. Okay. The mythology is spread all across Europe. It's like most well known in Ireland and Scotland. At least that's like how I found out about it. I actually first found out about it from the lore episode. That's on the Amazon Prime series. It's really good. But then the story of like babies being taken and replaced by monsters is also a thing in other continents. Like not as big as in Europe, but I think there's like I forget what the name is, but there is some kind of equivalent in Nigeria, I think. In general, you can identify if your baby has been swapped by a changeling if it appears sickly and doesn't grow like a normal child, or if it has a beard and long teeth.
What the fuck?
I know.
That is A, completely rude, and B, I don't think the teeth and beard is reasonable.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. Also, it's like, yeah, like I think that people would know versus maybe they would know. But then the changeling can also possess far more intelligence than a baby should. And they did not go further into detail when they said that, so I can only speculate about what they mean by above average intelligence for a 2-year-old. That's creepy. Or they can have really deep insights about life as if they're older. um, a changeling may identify itself by displaying unusual behavior, like jumping, dancing, or playing an instrument. And like, I just want to say that this is all like a toddler or like a baby. So like, can you just imagine like a baby jumping up and dancing in its crib when the baby isn't even old enough to supposedly walk? Like, that's creepy as hell.
Yeah, I'm not about it.
I
I already hate children. That just makes it worse.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, so that's creepy. As for the fairies' motives, they will swap children for various reasons, such as that they love the child, or that they need a servant, or that they hate the parents, or because they want their own own fairies to have the comforts of being a human baby. Um,
Okay,
yeah,
that makes sense.
which I'm like, okay, yeah, it's probably hard to live in the woods versus in a nice little crib. I don't know.
Yeah,
Um,
I want to take risks to make sure my baby has a better life.
yeah, exactly. There's also a theory, I forget which culture specifically it comes from, but that the Fae don't substitute fairy children, but instead old fairies that they bring into the human world to die comfortably, which I think is also interesting. Um, but back to children kidnapping. So children were considered more likely to be taken if they were male, if they had gray or blue eyes, which look like glittery gemstones that attract fairies, I guess, or they had blonde hair. So basically,
Okay.
Aryan children are at risk for this. Aryan
Yes.
male children. Um, and then there was all this weird shit about breast milk that I was reading.
Oh.
And
Okay.
yeah, like that human milk is necessary for fairy kids to survive. So sometimes the motivation for fairies would be like, I need to get my kid human breast milk and have them like suckle on a human woman. And I don't know. It was just weird and kind of bizarre. But
Just a little bit.
yeah. Um
Okay.
yeah. And then so as changelings grow up in their human families, they can either forget that they are fairies and live normal human lives, and others will remember and then just one day like leave home to go back to their birth family. Like it literally just like disappear at like 10 years old. And the parents are like, what the fuck happened? Kind of.
Huh.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of the movie Us. Have you seen Us?
I have not.
Okay. It's by like the same director or writer as Get Out, but it has like a lot of uncanny like child
Oh
swapping
wait, is this
stuff.
the one with the scissors?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I lost my job at that point, so I didn't have the funds to go.
Yeah. I think I think it's free to stream on some kind of service now. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I'll have to look it up. I know Moonlight is free
Yeah.
on Prime and Netflix now.
Yeah. I think Get Out is also free on something. I don't know.
I don't know. I've been watching Moonlight
Yeah, it's good.
because of reasons.
Yeah.
That's
Um,
why I know.
yeah.
Here.
Also, scissors are also a changeling thing, and I just realized that. But anyways,
Really?
yeah, we'll get into that.
Okay, so it's
What?
I was gonna say it's $5.99 on YouTube or Amazon, but it is not. They lied. It's on HBO Go and HBO Now.
You mean us's?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Good to know. Okay, where were we? We covered breast milk, kind of. Going
Scissors.
home. Scissors. Oh yeah. Well, we will actually get to that later on in the story.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, to kind of ground this mythology back in reality, there was a quote on Wikipedia, and I should have written down the author's name, but I didn't. But it says some folklorists believe that fairies were memories of inhabitants of various regions in Europe who had been driven into hiding by invaders. They held that changelings had actually occurred. The hiding people would exchange their own sickly children for the healthy children of the occupying invader. So, like, some people think that there are actually instances of child swapping, like swapping sick children for healthy children
Mm-hmm.
and stuff, which is creepy.
Yeah.
Um, oh yeah, but if you have a kid and you want to ward off the fairies, you can leave some open iron scissors where your baby sleeps, which doesn't sound safe.
Okay.
But but I guess iron is something that that repels fairies, and I guess most people have scissors, so it's like okay.
That's
But
true.
yeah, also I have a whole list of like other random ass like things that they use to try to ward off the spirits. But yeah, so I also just wanted to list all of the different places where changelings have evolved, but like slightly differently. So Wikipedia listed Cornwall, Germany, Ireland, the Isle of Man, Lowland, Scottish and Northern England, Poland, Scandinavia, Spain, and Wales as like main changeling like hubs, I guess. Hubs of child swapping. Oh yeah, and I wanted to shine a spotlight on the German version for a minute because it's like especially horrific. So there are a lot of things that people have come up with to like try to get your child back and like swap it back from the changeling.
Okay.
And in Germany they thought that you could do that by putting the changeling in the oven, and that will supposedly force a confession.
What?
You could also confuse it by brewing eggshells, or you could hit.
Okay, that doesn't make any sense. The
Yeah,
oven, sure.
yeah.
Brewing eggshells?
I
Not so
know
much.
it's random. I don't know. There are some other eggshell things. I don't know. Um,
Okay.
or you could also hit or whip the changeling, and like just keep in
No,
mind, like
no.
these are
Okay.
small babies, so
Yeah,
it's
that's
it's
not approved in this house.
it's not great.
Sorry.
Yeah. And there was actually a case where a mother killed her baby in the oven and she was taken to court for it.
Oh.
Yikes. I know. Yeah.
Like, I hate
Um
children, but also, no. I'm
yeah.
sorry.
Yeah. No.
Children have not done anything, and I don't want to say they're innocent, because there could be many reasons why children are not innocent. But generally, they don't know any better, and that's what frustrates me so much.
Yeah.
But also, they literally have no other reason to think that what they're doing is incorrect, or
Exactly.
that the world around them is against them in any way, and just they haven't been alive for very long.
I
Leave them
know.
alone.
Yeah, leave them the fuck
Ugh.
alone. Also, like, because all this ties back so much to, like, a disability and, like, having a disabled child is, like, aware on families' resources, especially, like, in older periods where, like, food was really hard to come by. And
Mm-hmm.
so it was easier to, like, make up this legend about, oh, that's not really my child. I'm gonna kill it
Ugh.
so that I don't have to deal with having a disabled kid, kind of.
Like, I really do not like children, but the only thing that I do not like more than children is people who harm children
Yeah, I know.
for any reason at all.
Yeah. Like, I absolutely, like, probably don't want to have children, at least not anytime soon. But, like, also, I would probably, like, jump in front of a car to save a child because I'm just like, it's a kid, you gotta do it. But,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, well,
Wow, people need to stop.
I know. Um, Back to Insanity Land. Sometimes all you had to do to switch your child back was give it a good breastfeed, and then the fairies would bring back your child and take their other one. So I guess that would be the least harmful. I don't know. Um, but who are these fairies? That is the question. Um, I think Martin Luther thought that fairies
Oh yes,
were
good
the
old Martin
devil.
Luther.
Yeah. So he was like, "Oh yeah, fairies are the devil." Some people thought that there's a single fairy, a female dwarf, or a water spirit, or a Ragamutter, which translate to the rye ants, a demonic woman living in cornfields and stealing children, which is bizarre. And also, I did hashtag that me,
Yes.
other than the stealing
At some
children.
point, I want to hear about like why witches like go after your firstborn child.
I think it probably ties back to like paganism and like child sacrifice and stuff.
Probably.
Guessing. Yeah. But I could do a historical episode on that sometime. That's a good idea. Um okay, got it. But Germany aside, a fairy takes your kid and will not return it. What do you do about that? Um Unanimously, you could throw it in the fire.
Oh
But don't worry because it'll jump up the chimney and return your real baby, so you don't have to worry about like burning alive.
no, I
Um,
don't think so. I'm sorry.
yeah. You could always scream "God bless you" or "Give it to me" if you caught a fairy trying to steal your baby, and then it would give it back.
I think
Um,
that God bless you would work a little bit better than give it to me.
yeah, I don't. Yeah, they were set up like as like equal measures in my
Yeah.
source, but I don't know. You could also trick the changeling into speaking or laughing, and it will reveal itself. Could also just
Okay.
drop off the baby by the edge of the forest or the river to die. I mean, for the fairies to find it and return your child, and you can just hope for the best.
But then wouldn't they be mad at you for neglecting their child
I mean,
and abandoning them?
I don't know. This is all good means to an end. You know,
Okay, sure.
I think it's also just like the roots of it are that you don't want this child anyways. So there's probably something psychologically like I just want to get rid of it under the guise that this is the right thing to do, kind of.
Sure.
You could also take the children to a midden, which is Polish for like a compost dump where like you dump like animal
Hmm.
bones and like mussel shells and stuff. Or you could also whip it with a stick. That's also something. Specifically, a stick from a birch tree. Um, and you can pour water from an eggshell over it while saying, "Take yours, give me mine back." So,
I still don't understand this egg situation. Does it
I
have
know.
something to do with like? 'Cause they don't know about eggs in your womb yet.
Wait, what?
I'm trying to understand this egg situation because they don't know science. They don't know anything about eggs in your body,
Yeah.
so it can't be like a related situation.
Yeah. I think they actually I think they did like guess something about eggs. Like because in
I
my
mean, they have like the we're gonna fertilize your land, but like I don't
yeah,
I don't continue.
I don't know. Yeah. I guess maybe
Continue.
eggs are like a form of new life abandoned by like chickens and stuff. I don't know. Um but yeah.
Yeah, like when did they connect to that? You also have eggs, like a chicken that you have to fertilize. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean like
Weird.
one of the common phrases that I was unfortunately reading in like my in medieval sexualities class was like the idea of like seed and egg, like in human like copulation.
Hmm.
Is that the right word? Sex? I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah, but
Intercourse.
yeah, God.
Penetration.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Um, but yeah.
Penis
So
and vagina penetration. Like,
ew, ew, God,
ugh.
ugh. I hate straight sex ed. Anyways, okay. Um, or if you want to try to prevent your kid being swapped altogether, you can just not wash diapers after sunset, and you could put an extra knife by the baby's bed to ward off the fairies, or you could baptize your child.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, and
The age-old cure of baptism.
yeah. So I don't know. Are you seeing any problems here, Cody? Anything that like doesn't really line up with reality?
Oh, I mean, there's a lot of things going on. Eggshells, not washing diapers, leaving children at the river.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Also, the idea that fairies exist.
yeah, that too. Yep. Um yeah. So like this whole thing is very tied to a disability, as I said before. And um on Wikipedia it had like a whole list of like disorders and like chronic conditions that match up with the
Oh.
that like match up with the reasons why people thought that their child was a changeling.
I
Um,
mean, this is like the OG, let's send your wife to the asylum because she has period cramps.
exactly. Yeah.
Let's
Um,
abandon our child by the river because their leg is deformed or something. Like,
yeah. Yeah.
uh,
It's gritty. Um, so I did read that quote regressive autism specifically matches up with the symptoms of accused changelings. And regressive autism, I guess, and the DSM is defined like having a neurotypical development up until a certain age, and then the symptoms of autism start to pop up. So, which I guess it's like my child was normal and then something happened, so it must have been swapped,
my
kind of
child was
thing.
normal, and then it screamed too loudly, and now, oh,
Yeah.
swapped baby.
Oh no, this is a demon child.
Ugh.
Gotta go get mine back. But yeah, so like,
I mean, it could also be like your child's developing into a person.
yeah, yeah, for
How old, sorry, how old is like the kind of cutoff for this sort of thing? Can your teenager be replaced by a changeling?
Um, I mean, yeah, in some versions of the story, like even like young adults
What
can
if you're
be
an
changed.
adult?
Yeah,
Like an adult, your mom be replaced by a changeling?
I I'm pretty sure that the cutoff is like quote young adulthood, so probably like 25 or something. Um,
When your imagination is shot.
yeah. There was this
Cool.
one case about this guy who killed his wife because he was convinced that she was a changeling because she was being too independent.
Ah,
Um,
so he didn't just send her to an asylum. He took
yep,
matters into his
yep,
own hand.
yep. Um,
Cool.
yeah, so there was that. It was actually in the Elore episode. It was like she was making more money than him through her like seamstress business, and he
That
was
sounds about
very
right.
insecure, so he did this whole changeling thing and killed her. And he only got what was it like manslaughter instead of first degree murder because of all the changeling things. But yeah, so that
Wow.
sucks. But yeah, so um I'm really curious about oh, first I did read that like the changeling in mythology has been like really incorporated into autistic culture now and like kind of reclaimed since a lot of the symptoms of changelings back then were did line up with like autism and stuff. So I don't know.
Okay.
I think that's kind of cool. That's like been reclaimed in disability culture in a way. Um,
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's fascinating. Okay.
yeah, I think it's more just like owning that history and that
Yeah.
trauma versus like being
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, I'm a changeling. Like, no, it's more like, yeah, this is how we were oppressed, but
Hmm.
we,
I
yeah,
guess it's like the pink triangle in a way.
exactly, yeah, yeah, or like reclaiming like queer as an identity and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but like that's good. I think that it's a better relationship now to
Hmm.
what was so, or probably is so oppressive. Um,
Yeah.
but so there was a lot of talk in my sources about like the uncanny quality of changelings. But I'm like, okay, so if it really comes down to disabled people and we're like actual people, then what is it to view like human beings as uncanny, kind of? Because the uncanny valley is supposed to be like close to human but not human, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, there's this quote from The Uncanny by Freud, which is like something which ought to have remained hidden but has come to light. Um,
I love this piece of writing so much.
the Uncanny. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I had to read it for class, and oh my god.
it's so it's like the only thing that I will thank Freud for. I mean,
Yes.
like he does tie it back to penis envy at one point, and I'm like,
That's true.
but the rest of it, we love
Yeah.
that.
It's like one of the only things that we can carry into modern day.
Yeah, yeah. And then Kara Riley, a performance scholar who writes about performative objects, she defines the uncanny as something familiar or home-like that becomes horrifying through its sudden unfamiliarity. So it's
Yes.
like I feel like all of that is still like how people view disability, but it's also like the uncanny isn't supposed to apply to actual people versus like doubles or robots or something.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I just think that's interesting to me.
Where did you read? Sorry. Side note. Did you read the uncanny thing in a class or?
Yeah, I read it with Dr. Hillard in Victorian Afterlives, I think.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. Did
I
you
don't think we had the same
also?
class, but I took that class at some point too.
Okay. Was it with Hillard too?
Yes.
Nice. Yeah.
Because I got in
Um
this weird rut of like I could only take classes with her because every other professor was teaching things that I had already taken,
yeah.
or I didn't need that requirement anymore.
Yeah, no. I like loved Dr. Hillard at first because I was seeking her approval so much, and I knew that if I got her approval, then that would feel very good. But I think that's really unhealthy, honestly.
Just a little bit.
Just a bit, yeah. Um, yeah, and I know that you also had issues with her senior year, right?
But I mean, it had nothing to do with her. It had everything to do with me not being able to perform correctly.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't do any of my homework because I kept getting so behind and like I was in a weird mental spot that year.
Mm-hmm.
I won't go into it too much on air, but I don't know how much of this I'm cutting anyways
Yeah.
because it does talk about school and like people there.
Yeah.
But I literally started hallucinating and
Mm.
everything. So
Yeah.
I did not sleep the entire last 2 months of senior year because I was so worried about being behind that I was like, oh, I gotta pull an all-nighter. But since I had pulled an all-nighter for like the past week and a half,
Yeah.
I literally could
That's
not
tough.
function and like kept falling asleep. So there wasn't any, it wasn't healthy. I do not recommend not sleeping
Yeah.
to get work done.
Yeah.
If it comes down to getting the proper amount of sleep and getting work done, get the proper amount of sleep. That's the
Yeah.
only thing I can recommend from that
I
experience.
definitely agree. Yeah. I know. So many of my friends would like pull all-nighters and like kill their spirit over it, and I'm just like, no, don't do that, honey.
Like, it's maybe reasonable to do once in a while,
I
but
guess, yeah.
definitely not. Like, I can understand doing it once in a while, but definitely not every night for 2 months.
Yeah, for sure. I think the only all-nighter I've ever pulled was when I forgot to take my meds one night, and then I just didn't sleep. But
Yeah.
rip. I'm very attached to my sleeping time, so I guess that's
I've definitely learned the value of it, so I'm also
yeah,
attached.
yeah. It's good stuff. Um, well, yeah, that is the end of my notes. So I guess that's the
Oh,
end of my story. Oh, there was something that I wanted to say that is another like branch of the story that I want to go into at some point. It's
okay.
it's called the Indigo Children.
Oh, what is that? I've never heard of that.
It's like a pseudoscience, like a real pseudoscience that people believe in, that there are
Mm-hmm.
some children that have supernatural abilities.
Like psychology?
Yeah, like pseudo science psychology. I like didn't go into it so much. I just like saw that on the Wikipedia article for changelings,
I see. Okay.
and I'm like, I want to talk about that at some point
Yeah,
because
I
that's
definitely want to
wild.
hear about that at some point.
Yeah. Yeah, but we should probably sign off because you have to go
Yeah.
soon, right? And I
Work
have to
things,
pack.
hashtag work life.
Hashtag work life. Oh yeah, also, can you get me whatever you want for the Instagram post for
Of
this
course.
week?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, let's actually announce it right now. So
Oh
we have
yeah,
started putting up pictures on Wednesdays.
yeah,
Um of like things that we talked about on the podcast from Monday.
yes.
Um
So we give some like extras on Wednesday for the past episode that was released on Monday, and then we give
yes.
some sneak peeks on Friday.
So follow us on Instagram at Horror Corner Podcast. You can find us on Twitter at Horror Corner Pod.
Mhm.
You can also find us on Patreon at patreon.com/Horror Corner Podcast, so we can put more time and effort into this podcast for you, and
Yeah,
maybe get away from YouTube, where
yeah,
you should be listening to all of our episodes at Horror Corner Podcast,
yes.
and
Please
help us get
support
onto
us.
iTunes and everything. So patreon.com/Horror Corner Podcast is the place to do that. You can also leave comments down below. That's the way that we are accepting reviews right now, since we are not on iTunes and you cannot
Mhm.
leave a review there. Reviews are now in the comments down below. You can also send reviews, listener stories, suggestions to horrorcornerpodcast@gmail.com.
Mhm.
You can DM hate mail to me personally at GoCody on Twitter.
Yeah, I like already have trouble like looking at the YouTube that we're posted on because I'm scared. So only send me love email. Cody can
Yes,
deal with everything. Sorry, Cody.
that's okay. If you send love mail to L, mark them very clearly in the subject line.
Yeah. I
You can
mean,
also send them in very clearly marked in the subject line pictures of baby goats and
yes.
other animals. I only accept in the subject line dog photos, so that's just me. You can also DM those to me on Twitter if you'd like.
Should we just have
Maybe at some
like
point we'll
two
get a
separate
separate
emails
email
at
for
this
L.
point? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, we'll figure it out.
Okay.
Email is free. iTunes is not.
That's
Either
true.
way, find us online at all those places, and that is all
Yeah.
that I have.
Yeah,
So yeah,
I think that's all that I have too. Um, yes, well, thank you so much for listening. I'm Elle.
I'm Cody.
We will be back again next Monday. Happy Thanksgiving if you
Oh
celebrate
yeah,
Thanksgiving.
that
Um,
was last week at this point,
oh
but
yeah, last
we didn't
week.
say it last week, so
Whoops, I will mention it in my Instagram post. That will.
okay.
Okay. Okay,
I
bye.
hope your weekend wasn't awful. Goodbye.
Goodbye.